Oh, yeah.
You can see it?
Yep. You're tracing.
Yep. So tell me what we're doing. If that's okay.
Yeah, we're drawing and talking and putting it on YouTube.
Okay. What do you think the title of this is going to be?
Do you think there's already an established genre that we can direct people to the video by using the name of?
Give me an example. Like ASMR, but...
Yeah, but it's not going to be ASMR, right?
Right, but
it's like,
that's the genre.
It's like maybe ASMR Spectrum?
I don't think it's that in the category.
Hanging out? There's videos where it's people just eating.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, it would be like in that, I think.
Yeah.
There are videos of people drawing, right?
Yeah, this is more similar to eating.
You think so?
I do, because I think that I'm thinking of these as being social.
Okay. Okay.
I think those eating videos are like mukbang or something. I think it's Korean. Might be wrong.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Can't think of the word mukbang. Alright, well, here we are.
So, what projects might you work on today?
Oh, today?
Well, we're here at Barnes & Noble's. So, usually we come here in order to kind of like do a little bit of book work and conceptual work on our ongoing projects, or for the beginning to figure out like what we're going to be doing, that type of thing.
Yeah. I am working on a short story right now for a fest. And so one of the things I was hoping to do while I was here was two things. Number one is I feel like I write different when I write on paper versus writing on a computer.
Yeah, I know I do.
So I was going to work on this section I'm kind of stuck on paper to see like what I could come up with. But at the same time I was thinking I might just do writing where I'm looking at my environment.
Okay, like observational writing for characters?
Yeah.
And sets?
And sets, because right now a lot of it takes place in a coffee shop, and we're in a coffee shop. And also because I feel like I'm just like recycling the same descriptions and actions that I used in my last story.
Really?
I do. It's like
are you doing that, or do you just feel like you are?
Well, not the specific descriptions as much as my method of thinking of them. It's all like, I've been really trying to pay attention to this in stories, because one of the complaints that my beta had was that I don't use enough description. So, in my last story, or in 2 stories ago.
Okay,
So I spent a lot of time trying to put description in, but I feel like I have the same method for thinking of it. And when I was reading other stories, I saw a lot of people, instead of using like what the person is doing physically, or you know, like, I don't like it when they're like they fidget with their shirt or like they move their hands. I feel like it's obvious that they're just trying to fill in a spot. So I've been reading a lot of like what they're thinking in between instead of what they're doing in between the dialogues, and I'm enjoying that. So anyway, I thought that if I looked at real descriptions instead of just trying to make some up while I was writing, it would help in that section.
Well, you said that it's what they're thinking.
Right, but I feel like I need both. The reason I was doing thinking is because I'm not feeling the doing right now, because I'm using the same method as before. I'm using those methods, like lots of fidgeting, which I'm not interested in. So I want to see what people are really doing, and I want to write that down and see if I can describe that in a less obvious filler way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense, because it seems like you need to rationalize it to yourself more so than you're actually looking for an objectively more poignant method of description.
Yeah.
Cool. So what's going on in your story for this part? Is it one particular part that you need to
Well, no, I mean, I'm still kind of... The thing is my stories are dialogue heavy, and it's so different, you know, after I just finished making that visual novel, and it was just so nice not having to put in, like, what anybody is doing. I can just put in what they're saying, because I really just want to be writing dialogues all the time. And so right now I've gotten to the first dialogue, and I've run into the problem of having to deal with the fact that you have to describe what's happening other than what they're saying. So I've been kind of playing around.
Oh, because it's not a visual novel.
Right. So I've been playing.
Do you think you'd be allowed to submit a visual novel?
Yeah, but I don't think I could. I'm not comfortable stealing a bunch of assets, and I couldn't draw them all in this time.
I know some people on Tumblr that you need to talk to.
They would want me to pay them.
That's a good point.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that would be great if I could do a visual novel, but it's a lot to do in this short of time. I mean, I'd have to change the story completely. The situation is, I wrote the story, and I always say, why would people start a story and not finish it? It drives me nuts. And so I really want to finish it. And this is like the only way I'm going to do it is if I join a fest, because it makes me feel pressured enough to finish things when I join fests. And then I never have to think about it again. That's what I'm trying to do here. But I also wanted to communicate the thing I wanted to communicate, obviously.
You want it to be, yeah.
Right, if I was just going to finish it with it being crap or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I mean, that's even harder to motivate. If you're like, I'm just going to end up with crap.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm still trying to get it to do the thing I wanted to do. I'm just not sure on what kind of tone I want yet, I guess, is I'm still struggling with my tone. And that's what I was going to work on, is seeing what kind of things I can observe to see if I could come up with something more natural than what I have right now.
Oh, that's interesting. Can we rotate?
Yeah. I got some pizza.
Is this Little Flop Foxes?
Sounds like them. Yeah. So, your turn.
Well,
Unless you had more you wanted to add.
Shoot, there was something I was going to say. Oh yeah, I think it's interesting, the idea of you thinking that you can get a different tone in writing based off of observation exercises. Because I with writing particularly, I have like no ability to change my tone. I don't feel like I have the ability to decide it. I think it just kind of happens.
Your tone is always humor.
Yeah.
And usually mine is too, which I prefer, but this isn't a humorous story.
Right.
And so I think that's another reason I'm struggling. So I'm trying to figure out what... The problem is the main character has no interests in anything, and no personality, and develops them throughout the story. So it's sort of...
apathetic.
Yeah. So
that's the problem with a lot of things.
So the thing about it that makes it challenging with the tone is that there is nothing, because the main character is nothing.
It's not from the main character's view, is it?
Yeah.
Oh. So, well,
there's two main characters, and the second main character I've decided not to turn into a point of view. Remember we had that discussion the other day? I'm just going to keep it from one person's point of view, so that way the second person can be all discovery.
And it's the apathetic one?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't think that's true. I mean, I can see why you would think that, but I don't think that's true. I don't think writing someone that's apathetic is necessarily going to be like a nothing voice.
It feels more observational. You know, like...
Oh, like distanced? Like disassociated?
Yeah, they're just trying to not pay attention to anything because they don't want to come to terms with their situation. And then something happens to where something makes them have to realize their situation.
Do you mean their place in their situation, or do you mean like a circumstance outside of themselves?
their place in their situation. They like can't avoid it anymore. The thing is, something has happened to where all of their techniques of not thinking about it anymore is not working because of this thing happening. And then they see an alternative and want to learn how to take it. And the alternative is another person, and they have to deal with the fact that they're being pushed away, right? So up until that point...
Let's move this. Okay.
Anyway, I feel like what the story is about is not as important as the method with what we're trying to communicate right now.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Observational tone. So wait, so are you looking for an apathetic tone as you observe?
I am just looking to see what I can observe, what is observable, because I am sort of apathetic to other people here that I would be observing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
I do. Disassociated.
Yeah, but really I just want to see what other people are doing.
Mm-hmm.
That is not like me trying to think of what other people are doing. I want to see what they're actually doing.
A study.
Yeah.
I am... Like, I'm actually a little nervous about... I feel like my current project is turning into a separate memory room than the one we're working on together.
Oh, really?
Feels like it.
What is your current project?
The Doodle Voxel combination.
Oh.
So, which ends up being a space.
Well, how is that part of the memory room? Because the memory room is all like things that is happening to us or we're interested in. So are you saying that you're interested in doodling with the voxel engine, or are you just playing around with that and you're doing it in the memory room?
Well, at first I would think that my approach is different because for this project I'm not... Gross. I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to record something that's already happening. I'm instead going out and experiencing things kind of like you're describing for your observational studies. Mm-hmm. I'm doing that for spaces and visual aesthetics. So not so much tones, though. I guess there is a little bit of that visual tones, though.
How does that work into the memory room project?
Well, it doesn't initially, but what ends up happening is my experience of going and observing things becomes something that I end up wanting to put in the memory room almost. So, for instance, now that I've been inspired by spending time in Hot Topic, mm-hmm. and I see all those t-shirts of the bands, and I'm like, wow, having a grid of powerful symbols of like something that is a larger experience, that being, album art. Because like if you kind of like look through a bunch of album art of bands that you listen to mm-hmm. in your youth, it has like an effect of, it's like this really intense nostalgia that's not substantive. It's just something of reference. Like it's like you overwhelm yourself with all of these references really quickly by looking at the wall of shirts. And I was thinking about making a wall similar to that, but instead doing train wrecks or even commercial games. So like a wall of like screenshots that have been put together. So I'm crowding the material.
That sounds reasonable for the memory room, but how's that related to what you're currently working on?
I'm going to put it in the thing I'm currently working on.
Oh.
So then it becomes like kind of memory room-ish.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure if like... I don't know. I feel like I'm cheating on you a little bit.
Why? It's still something you're interested in right now that you're making a reference to, so...
Well, I guess I'm kind of wondering if I should put this in the memory room project. But I don't know, because I can't.
Okay, well, what is the memory room project to you?
Like you described, it's like things that are actually happening that we want to make sure to record. But in a simulated space. But the approach of this is a lot different because let's go with this again. The approach of this is a lot different because as I approach it, I'm thinking of finding a way to fill a space with a new tool, rather than recording things that have been happening to us lately.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a memory room thing.
Yeah. So.
Why were you going to put it in there? Just so you could have something to put in there?
No, because Hot Topic was really inspirational.
So it does fit, but making it doesn't fit, maybe? I mean, it does sound like it fits when you put it that way.
Yeah, well, if you go outside of that specific room, because, you know, this is a series of rooms, the Voxel is like more of a building than a room.
Oh, the whole it wouldn't be the whole building.
Correct. So there would also be a lot of signage about, like, advertising unicorns and stuff.
Yeah, but that would be your experience in the mall.
Yeah, but, yes, but no, because it's not specific. The mall taught me how to do it, but it's not of the mall. So, like, the thing I got from the mall was realizing that, the signage and symbols is largely aspirational. It doesn't have to be, pragmatic or realistic at all, because you're basically trying to signal to people that their dreams exist in this store. So I'm not going to be putting in this space signals of, you know, broad general dreams so much as I'm going to be putting in things that I think are particularly aspirational or, like, you know, absurdly ambitious, beyond sales. So, for instance, you know, I mean, I guess we're getting a lot closer to, you know, slime being a word that Claire's might put out in front, but we're not there yet.
Maybe you could just put in the Hot Topic room into the memory room.
Yeah.
Can you take out one room?
Actually, I think that's an incredibly simplistic solution that makes a lot of sense. I hadn't really considered the possibility of taking the Hot Topic idea and putting it in the memory room instead of putting it in the Doodle Voxel, and there's really no reason for it to be in the Doodle Voxel.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Even though it's part of the mall, the Doodle Voxel is mall related?
Well, the mall taught me how to do it, but it's not about the mall.
Let me go get some water. I'll be right back.
Okay.